Welcome back to Common Sense. I'm Wendy Bell. Pay your fair share. Joe Biden loves to finger wag us, right? That's rich. Does anyone have a mirror for the first family of tax dodgers? Hunter ducked a $1.2 million tax bill until, of course, he got caught. Now, he didn't pay his tax bill. This Hollywood attorney, Joe Biden donor named Kevin Morris, did. He's the guy who's assembled a group of 30 lawyers and investigators to clean up Hunter's image, pay his bill, and to discredit people like me who tell the truth. The Bidens have such great friends, don't they? Then there's Joe and Jill's mysterious $10 million tax infusion in 2017, which the fine folks at Newsweek tell us came from book sales, right? Joe Biden's 2017 memoir, Promise Me, Dad, allegedly sold more than 300,000 copies. There's no way they made nearly twice as much money in 2017 than they did in all of the previous 19 years combined. And no, that was not foreign influence peddling bribery money, you conspiracy theorists out there, which brings us to you, the screwing of the American taxpayer. What exactly are we paying for? And how much is it costing us? Let's bring back the panel. I know they're going to like this. Ari Hoffman hosts The Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 AM, KVI in Seattle. Stacy Washington, the host of Stacy on the Right on Sirius XM Radio, and Barack Lurie of The Barack Lurie Show on AM 870 out of Los Angeles. Barack, 2020. President Trump's last year in office. The IRS collected $3.5 trillion from us 2 years later under Joe Biden. That number skyrocketed to $5.03 trillion. That is $5.30 trillion. 10 zeros, you guys. A 30% increase. How's that Inflation Reduction Act working for everybody, Barack?
Well, obviously, it's not working very well. The Inflation Reduction Act, of course, had nothing to do with reducing inflation. And their own stated goal was to reduce global warming. So it's such a misnomer, and they never bothered to correct it. And they never said, well, oops, we goofed. I mean, it cannot possibly lead to confidence in government when the very bill that you have says the wrong title about what you actually plan to do. So that's a concern. But in terms of spending, look, the only thing that I think is going to work is some sort of convention of states. And the convention of states is already out there seeking to balance the budget as a constitutional amendment, among other things. It's gaining some traction. I'm very excited about it. But that is the only way it's going to work. Otherwise, we're going to continue to see the printing of money because it needs to satisfy the Democrats. They're able to say that they're feeding these pork projects. And they get to hold hostage the whole Republican government as well, because they have to not get rid of Social Security, for example, not curb Medicare, not curb all these other big government programs that are now suddenly essential to our very existence. And I put that in air quotes, of course. So this is what needs to be done, a balanced budget.
Yeah, hello, of course. Now, Ari, Democrats pay taxes too. I mean, they want to tell us that Biden's got like a 40% approval. That's got to be total hogwash because everything is unaffordable. It just is.
Well, you know how many people are on the take with Joe Biden based on how many people approve of him and how many people are getting money from Hunter Biden. I mean, it's a big, long list, right? Those could be the only people who still approve of Joe Biden. But really, when you look around the country, you look at Joe Biden, who looked at the spending and said, hey, let me blow it out as much as possible with this Inflation Reduction Act, because people are so desperate for relief. They're going to agree to spend whatever it is, thinking we're going to save them. And how many people were out there on social media peddling for this thing who are now out there on TV and on social media going, oh, yeah, inflation's really bad. You all advocated for this thing. Everybody knew what was in it who actually read this thing. So the chickens are coming home to roost.
I love that Jeremiah Wright quote. Stacy, how much money do you think we've given to Ukraine? Without receipts, because of course we never see any. Good luck finding that number. CBS News tells us it's more than $70 billion. CNN puts the number at $113 billion, which probably means we're closer to $200 billion, right? And it's a monster figure, another $24 billion to Ukraine that's been rolled into the defense budget that may well shut the government down. Shut it down? Yes or no?
Shut it down. I'm a shutdown girl all day. Our active duty service members, bank and credit unions, they will be paid. The non-essential parts of government will be defunded temporarily. We know the government always gets funded at the end of the day, the end of the week, the end of the month, however long it takes. This is the tool that is given to our House that controls the purse strings in order to rein in irresponsible acts like spending in Ukraine. And you said those numbers that you've seen in different news organizations. I heard John Kirby say that he couldn't tell reporters who asked him how much we've spent there because he didn't have those numbers in front of him. I've seen numbers as high as $200 billion. They lost $6 billion in a rounding. So let's get real here. If it was you and me, Wendy, we were sitting down with our accountants talking about household budgets, I would not be getting a new kitchen. I would be getting a spending freeze. My husband would literally shut all of it down. And there's no way it would even be in that state because there's no bank, there's no financial system in the world that would allow me to overspend the way our government does. So shut it down.
100%. Shut it down. 100%. So Barack, the DOD is sending an extra $325 million in critical security and defense spending to Ukraine, right? Congress didn't vote for this. Biden waved his magic wand and made it so. This is the 47th time the Biden administration has drawn down U.S. military supplies and sent them to Ukraine. We're funding a proxy war 5,000 miles away, all while ignoring this alien invasion here at home. Barack, jump in.
Well, it's exactly right. They want to ask for forgiveness rather than for permission in the first place. And they figure that they'll get some of these things through, even though they didn't ask permission in the first place. As to the border, I mean, it's funny because back in the Trump days, I remember that he said it was going to be $5 billion, only $5 billion to make that wall. And the Democrats opposed it on the grounds that it was just too expensive. And now here we are with Ukraine, and we have no idea. I mean, $5 billion is a rounding error when it comes to Ukraine. So look, all the priorities are out of whack. We have to do something about this. And yes, let's shut the government down if we absolutely have to and really protect our own country.
Right on. And Ari, totally blasted for giving a standing ovation to a Nazi, right, before the Canadian Parliament. Ukrainian President Zelensky. He's on his worldwide tour, right, selling the brand of suffering to get more money from more countries. Look, Ukraine is one of the top 3 most corrupt countries on planet Earth, right? Is the American gravy train reaching its end, or does this become Afghanistan if we the people don't stop funding it?
Well, we already beat how much money we gave to the Taliban and military material that we left behind over there. I believe that figure was 80 billion. It seems like we've already surpassed that. We don't know who we're funding. Joe Biden comes out and says he wants an assault weapons ban. Meanwhile, how many assault weapons, or however he defines those, have we sent to people in Ukraine like the Azov Brigade? We have no idea who we're funding over there. We're just giving out the money. You could tell by Zelensky's wife's shopping trips to Paris exactly how much money we're giving them over there.
100%. And I'll give you, Stacy, the last 45 seconds. President Kamala Harris.
Well, so look, this is, I don't think this is happening. She's so unpopular on the left. They're trying to figure out a way to extract her and Joe Biden and bring us the most terrifying thing you ever heard of, which is Gavin Newsom. That's what they're thinking. I don't know what to tell you other than pray, everyone. Keep praying. Yes. Pray for this country.
Yes, I'm a believer, and I believe in that. You guys, thank you so much for being here. I love having you as always.